Good morning, right? Today is a celebration. Today is a day of appreciation. A day we've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. A day that's the accumulation of a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of cooperation, a lot of battles, a lot of discussion, a lot of just getting things done, which is the way we do things in Chicago. So thank you all for being here. My name is Scott Goodman. I am principal of Farpoint Development, and we are the lead development team of a team we call Grit Chicago. This is the official groundbreaking of Bronzeville Lakefront. And I actually get a little emotional. For a couple reasons. So one, we are in Prairie Shores right now, which was my dad's plumbing company's largest account. And I spent my childhood rotting sewers in this building and making sure that the pipes worked. And here we are, 40 years later, really in this historic neighborhood of Bronzeville, continuing a story of an amazing area, an amazing neighborhood, an amazing continuum of, really, this is a story that started 140 years ago with Michael Reese Hospital. You're my buddy, Leonard, thank you. Michael Reese Hospital was started with some money donated to a family that couldn't get health care, and they decided to build this hospital that was full of innovation, that was available to all those in need. And it really became a centerpiece of an entire community. Later came the Great Migration. It became such a cultural hub for the city of Chicago. The State Street Stroll, the Black Metropolis. Paula Robinson, I don't know if you're here, but is now the Black Metropolis Heritage Area, designated by the federal government. What a legacy. What an amazing part of the Chicago fabric that we get to build on today. So Chicago Grit is a team. Of all the mega developments in Chicago, we are the only one that is a team developing it. And not only are we a team, we're a diverse team. Not only what we look like, but what we do, what our visions are for the site, and how we're going to execute on it. The Bronzeville Lakefront, as we call our development, it's going to be a mixed-use community. It's going to have affordable housing. It's going to have market rate housing. It's going to have senior housing. It's going to have artist housing. It's going to have retail. It's going to have entertainment district. The streets kind of bordered by Cottage Grove Avenue, Vernon Avenue, 31st Street. It'll form a little triangle it'll be just a place for the community to gather. We are looking to be a huge expansion of the already proud Bronzeville community, and we're so the Grit team is made up of Farpoint. It's made up of, which is led by my partner Regina Stilp and myself. It's made up of Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives, which is Dave Doig and Jen Bransfield. It's made up of McLaurin Development, Zeb McLaurin. It's made up of Loop Capital Markets, Jim Reynolds, and the Bronzeville Community Development Partnership, which is led by Paula Robinson. So thank you for a great partnership. So the Bronzeville community, the Bronzeville Lakefront, we're going to create a lot of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. And these are jobs not only in the making of the project, but jobs that will continue inside and within the project as we move forward. So we've made huge commitments to the community. We are, again, going to do affordable housing on site. We are going to create an opportunity for local businesses at a discount to operate on site. We are, does everybody know Leonard McGee? Because he's one of my favorite people on earth. So we've made a commitment to the schools of $25 million, and we're going to build a world-class community center. So we're very proud of all those things we're giving back to the community, with the community, and for the community. So Appreciation to so many for getting us here. Again, my grit team. It's so many. We've been working on this for 6 years, and right. But we couldn't have done it without the efforts of Alderman Sophia King and her staff, Prentice Butlers, and others. And Alderman King did an amazing thing at the very beginning. She populated the Micro-REIS Advisory Committee. And people like Leonard McGee, people like Kevin Stanzik, I don't know if I don't see you, people like Kim Chasa Baldwin, people like Dr. Eduardo, and Ms. Muhammad, the all-star of the entire team. Yes, absolutely. Dr. Enrique Beckman, he was actually the old chairman of the medical committee of the hospital, and he was such a strong influence on so many things we did, and I just think he deserved a mention here today. So to all the MRAC members, our heart is with you guys. We had a lot of people helping us. SOM Skidmore was with us from the beginning with our land planning. DLA Piper, our legal help, along with Neil Leroy. Graham Grady, of course. Spaceco, Bill Loftus and Mike Mondes. Thank you so much for that. Thomas from Level 1 and so many others. We needed all your help getting here and finally getting into the ground. I saw Commissioner Biaggi here earlier, so right next to me, in fact. So thank you for all the help with CDOT. That's what we're kicking off right now, is our infrastructure and our new road grid that makes everything able to be built, so that's huge. Commissioner Cox, Cindy Rubik, Noah, I saw you here. I know Terrence, I don't know if I saw you, and Tim Jeffries, and did I mention Cindy yet? Because Cindy was the one that bore all the brunt of most of our and actually sitting next to her is David Scully, who really was at SOM at the beginning, is now with planning, and thank you, David, for all you did throughout the entire project. The mayor's staff and team and Rural Business Chicago, Samir and Michael Posnock, thank you so much for all you've done. And that actually, our big appreciation goes to our mayor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. She gave us 4 years of her life. And, right? So it's a pretty good testament to our city that people are willing to dedicate themselves that way and just give back. And we're just so thankful for what you've done. And really, I believe your legacy will be the Invest Southwest initiative that you've really come up and really furthered so much and really made sure that the neighborhoods are getting the attention and the investment they've needed for so many years. And I think there's no better example of an underinvested site as the former Micro-REIS Hospital site. And so we are endeavoring to live out your vision. We are endeavoring to live out your dreams of what this could be, what it should be, and what it will be. So with that, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This day has been years in the making. You know that we're joined by many senior leaders here today. I won't go through the list because you're going to hear from many of them, but I will give thanks to some that I think are unheralded in this process. And I'm going to start with Samir Mayakar. I'm saying this a lot this week and probably many more times before the end of our term. A mayor can have a vision about what she wants to happen in a city, but it takes gifted team members and leaders of courage and conviction to execute on that vision. No mayor stands alone. And we have had the benefit of an incredible team of talented people all across the board. You're going to hear from Commissioner Cox. You're going to hear from Commissioner Biaggi. But I want to make sure that everyone within the sound of my voice knows that Samir Mayakar is probably one of the most gifted, dedicated public servants that I've ever seen in decades of being around city and other government. And we owe him a debt of thanks and gratitude for his hard work. So thank you. I also want to thank Michael Fastnock and the team at World Business Chicago. Samir and Michael and I and Commissioner Cox and all the other commissioners that are involved in the work that we've been doing around the city for the last 4 years, we all work in partnership and as a team. And Michael comes to city government without that background and experience, but has been an invaluable partner, a thought partner, and helping us shape a vision and a message for what we want to accomplish, how we want to get it done. So Michael, thank you for you and your team and all the hard work that you've also put in, not just on this site, but on others as well. And I do want to thank Scott Goodman, the son of a plumber, who had the commitment and the vision to see that our city had great needs and is willing to step up and lead and invest. I want to thank you, Scott. Your father would be very proud. Of course, we're going to hold you accountable to make sure we get this done. But it is a good and noble thing that you and the entire team of Grit are doing. You know that I think anybody in the city who has thought about this site knows that it has such potential, incredible potential. The vastness of it, 48 acres, 3 miles south of the Loop, adjacent to McCormick Place, right on the lakefront, and here in historic and beautiful Bronzeville, but I guess technically Prairie Shores. The challenge was... Okay, thank you, sir. I'm not in church and this isn't call and response. But the challenge was what to do. After this site was purchased by the city some decades ago now, with the hope that it would be an Olympic Village in 2016, when that plan didn't come to fruition, there was a lot of concern about what would happen on this site. And then we subsequently learned that because it was a former hospital site, that there was a lot of land remediation that needed to be done, that frankly wasn't taken into consideration at the time, and what was the expense going to be for that, and how would we get that done. But I think as we've seen, not only over these last 4 years, but really throughout our entire history of Chicago, when we see a big challenge, we rally together and we figure out how to overcome that challenge. And such was the history, recent history of this site. So in 2017, the city issued an RFP for the development of the property that, as we now know, was ultimately won by the Grit team. And after years of extensive studies of the site, robust community engagement efforts, we today can take the first important steps in announcing unlocking the potential of this site through which is a $3.8 billion development plan, and yes, that's billion with a B, supported by $60 million in city-funded infrastructure. This project intends to create more than 7 million square feet, as you heard, of office space, mixed income residences, new roadways, parks, and other important public amenities. And obviously, something of this magnitude can't get done without the help and support of the city, and we've been absolutely happy and thrilled to be partners in this work. This is a tremendous investment. that will not only have impact and redound to the benefit of people here in this neighborhood, but really across our city. And frankly, put this property back on the tax rolls to help generate revenue and income for the city, to create wealth for the people who will be working here, that they take with them for whatever neighborhood that they live in, and then that wealth gets regenerated within those communities. That is, to me, the best of what we do when we partner with the private sector to lift up these kinds of economic development opportunities. And importantly, out of the estimated 5,000 residential units that will be developed here, 1,000 of them will be affordable units. This ensures that working residents and families can not only remain in Bronzeville as the fortunes rise, but they can also stay here specifically and be closely located to the thousands of job opportunities that this development will bring. This development will also include affordable senior housing, which is also important, and particularly important in this community, helping our elders access this exciting new community as well. The developers expect that this site will also become a home to innovative startups and leaders in the healthcare sector, further strengthening our city's innovation and life sciences ecosystem. And we are very excited and supportive of that possibility as well. I look forward to seeing this development rise, and with it, the fortunes of this community, the fortunes of the residents, with a focus on equity. The Bronzeville Lakefront development is a significant investment in job opportunities for residents, including an estimated 10,000 full-time jobs and more than 9,000 construction jobs. That's important as well. And something that I know is important to me, but also the Alderwoman, that this development plan will exceed the city's standards on minority and women-owned businesses participating, intending to utilize a combined 65% MBE and WBE across the city. And furthermore, GRIT plans to hire interns and apprentices from local schools and universities, and they aim to provide 12% of all apprenticeship hours to Bronzeville residents, another important equity component of this project. GRIT's Chicago commitment to our students doesn't end there, as Scott alluded to. They plan to make a $25 million contribution towards the improvement of Chicago public school facilities in a community area surrounded by this development, for which we are also truly grateful. And finally, this project will help build a community wealth by setting aside 10% of retail space within the development for local and disadvantaged business owners, with the rent for these businesses being 20% lower than the market rate, to help these businesses get set up and thrive. So that's another enormous community benefit of which the GRIT team should be proud, but also we should be proud as a city. And so thank you, Scott, and others for your leadership on that. Now, to be clear, this is the first phase. Doing the infrastructure work is critically important, and we are happy to be kicking this off. But this will be a project that is developed in iteration. It will take a number of years to get it done, but we have to stay diligent and committed to make sure that the big ideas and the plans actually come to reality, and we stand ready to help in any way that we possibly can. I just want to say thank you for all that you've done. Long time coming, but we're determined, and good things happen when you put your shoulder to the grindstone and keep pushing and pushing, and that's what this is about. Too many other people for me to specifically thank, but I will say thank you to the Michael Reese Advisory Council for your involvement, your commitment to not only this project, but holding us accountable, but also making sure that it meets the goals and visions of the Bronzeville residents. And to the city leaders who continue leading with a focus on equity and fostering community investments. And now I'd like to ask Commissioner Biaggi to come to talk about the specifics on the infrastructure investments. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. You talked about putting your shoulder to the grindstone to get big things done, and this mayor has done that all across the city. And this project, this moment today, is a great example of how that gets done. And so we're all here together for many years of pushing. But today is I have two favorite days of the week. One is ribbon cutting day, the other is groundbreaking day. And today's groundbreaking day. That is a big deal. I don't know if you've driven around the city, but we have crews everywhere in this snow. We'll call it snow today, but it's going to be gone hopefully in a couple of days. We are getting to work, and that is the best part of projects like this. So I'm just delighted to be here today to talk about what we're doing together with the GRIT team on infrastructure here. It's $60 million. That's the tip of the iceberg that we're putting in the ground today. That's new, walkable, vibrant places. That's wide sidewalks. That's bike lanes. That's gathering spaces. It's all the things that when you connect the dot in a community between housing that you need and the streets that you need, and all those pieces and parts is what stitches it together and makes it thrive. And so this 6 years of work together, and we know it probably goes further back than that. Leonard was reminding me, I think we met when I was, 10 years old at the Park District, working for Dave Doig, right? That's what these things take, these longitudinal relationships to get this done. And the coordination and planning with groups like the Michael Reese Advisory Council, Alderwoman Sophia King, the city departments, my colleagues in planning, and so many others. Not to mention 2 years of very intensive, right, David, collaborative work on the infrastructure part. That work is hard, very hard, and really trying to get it right. It's not just that big picture and that concept plan. You have to get it down to that brass tacks, that very tactical improvement. So thank you to the GRIT team, but then to two big divisions at the Chicago Department of Transportation. Our project development division, led by Deputy Commissioner Vig Krishnamurthy. I know we have Jeff Shriver here, Bill Higgins. Those are the folks who are in the rooms of the planning department and my colleagues who get that done. They're here somewhere. They're probably hiding in the background, because that's what they do. But they set the table for my incredible division of engineering, led by Managing Deputy Dan Burke, our city's chief engineer, our not new to us, but new in her position, Ann Zhang, our new Deputy Commissioner of Engineering, I believe probably the first woman to ever be the Deputy Commissioner of Engineering in the city of Chicago. That's pretty incredible. She's over there with her hard hat. She's got her hard hat in her hands. But this work is so important because it is establishing that holistic, human-scaled mobility network throughout the site. So we have new and improved sections of 26th Street, 27th Street, 29th and 30th Streets, Vernon Avenue, Lake Park, and of course, Cottage Grove. And two of these streets are designed to accommodate an extension over the metro tracks toward the lakefront. The new Cottage Grove, I think, is really particularly exciting here. It's going to be that thriving, walkable street where we get it all. You rarely get this with an existing city street. You're always dumping, 10 pounds of flour into a 5-pound bag and making trade-offs. But here we can have trees, we can have sidewalks, we can have bike lanes, we can have gathering spaces, we can have room for cafe tables, we can have all the things. And that takes that kind of collaboration and thinking big. And in one of my favorites, we're going to have raised off-street two-way bike lanes, right? The kind it's very hard to fit those in, and so that's a big deal here. I think the other thing that you'll see debut here that we don't have anywhere in the city is at the intersection of 26th and Cottage Grove, we'll have our first modern urban roundabout. Oh, roundabout, okay? Now, I'm happy to get into, no, it's a big deal. Yay for roundabouts. And I can get into how they're different from a rotary, which is bigger and faster. But what a roundabout is, that smaller sized turning circle, and it reduces the conflict points because you have cars coming together, people coming together. It reduces all those conflict points that are at a normal intersection, slows everybody down, and then you make it work. You don't need the signal. You can all work together and make it happen. It's really the symbol, I think, of how this whole project came to be. People are converging at this point. We're working together, letting each other in, following along, leading when you need to. That roundabout is, I think, a symbol of how this project happened. So this day is just the start. Our work, we think, of course, paves the way for, I had to say it, for, I know, it's terrible. Take the microphone away. But it paves the way, right, for a long journey that we have together, to handing the keys over to seniors who are going to live here, to kids playing in the green spaces, and to Chicago really looking toward this place as the special place we already knew it was, but it lifts up the whole city in its execution. So thank you so much. I want to introduce my incredible colleague, Commissioner Maurice Cox, where if his team doesn't get it right, make it happen, we don't ever get to shovels in the ground. So I invite my colleague to come up and talk more about the project.
So thank you, Commissioner Biaggi, and good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is an amazing occasion. When you think about legacy work, when you think about work that happens only once in a generation, you think about projects like this. I want to thank Scott Goodman for taking on a generational challenge, a project that will outlive multiple economic cycles. I want to thank Mayor Lightfoot for taking on the mantle of this project, a project so big that it outlives multiple political cycles. So this work is hard, and it's the kind of grit and tenacity that is makes great places. And so, as I was looking out, we're breaking ground on infrastructure, but I think it's important for us to realize that we're breaking ground on another great Chicago place. When you look at these renderings and think about where we are and how it will be transformed, you understand that this is the work of legacies. And I'm really thrilled. I also, been thinking a little bit about, what's different about how they've approached infrastructure here. That this is about more than moving cars, right? This is about setting the framework for urban life, for how people will live here, about the social interactions that they will have as a result of having wide sidewalks and canopy-lined streets, that is about setting the tone for the place that Bronzeville Lakefront will become. So I'm just thrilled that we have a condition where we have a commissioner of transportation, we have a mayor, we have developers who are willing to put people first and create an urban place. We talked a lot about all of the elements that will be done here relative to people, businesses, recreational opportunities, mixed income housing, a preservation story with the Singer Pavilion. But it is also a connector. It will connect downtown to Bronzeville. It will connect this site to the lakefront. And eventually, we will see this become a fully integrated part of Bronzeville. It took a lot of folks to pull this off, and I think that it would be appropriate to lift up the work that Alderwoman King did to embed this into the community, and it's largely through the work of the advisory committee. So I would just thank you, Alderwoman King, for holding the line. But also, this site was kind of dirty, and it needed some significant cleanup. And very often we don't sing the praise of AIS for their work to remediate this site so that it could become a place. So Sandra, thank you for your work in this effort. And then it's been mentioned multiple times, the team at DPD. We put out the RFP to reimagine the site 7 years ago. And to have multiple cycle of leadership. Fortunately, when people come and go, the core leadership of group of planning and development stay in place. I just want to sing the praise of Cindy Rubeck, Tim Jeffries, he knows those nights, Terrence Johnson, Patrick Murphy, and Noah Ceranic. Yeah. So we have a lot to celebrate today. in the accomplishment of this day. It takes a teamwork to make this dream work, and one of those who've been there from the beginning, who will be there to the end, is the GRIT partner, Zeb McLaurin. So we want to have a few words from Zeb on this project.
Thank you, Commissioner. For my team members, Scott's been holding back on us because I thought all the tears were gone already. Come on. That means, so GRIT team members, please raise your hand, and thank you for all of us. All of our vendors, contractors, partners, our lawyers, our engineers, our architects, thank you very much. If you were born at Michael Reese, if your children were born at Michael Reese, or if you worked at Michael Reese, please raise your hand and give ourselves a round of applause. And Alderman, thank you to the MRAC committee, because for all of those raised hands is why we are here and why the bar has been set so high for what we're doing. This infrastructure program is just the beginning, as the mayor thankfully mentioned. Her laser-like focus and vision on creating a spotlight on disinvested communities, on raising the bar and challenging us as owners and developers and investors to participate in that vision and bring about equitable change to the marketplace. We're starting out with the release of bid packages just today, and those bid packages are unique and extraordinary for what has traditionally been done in the city of Chicago. We have created a very significant bonding program in partnership with the city's risk management department, our partners at Aon and Nationwide Insurance, and we are releasing a package that allows for local, small, minority, and women-owned contractors to participate at the significant beginning stages of this multi-billion-dollar project without encumbering their balance sheets. To explain that simply, the owners, developers, are taking on the financial risk in bonding the performance and payment bonds for these vendors so that they can compete in this multi-billion-dollar project for the first time. So thank you. And we did not do that initially as our vision. That was a team effort and result. Again, re-emphasizing the mayor's vision, coupled with the alderman's steadfast commitment and encouragement and challenging to us as team members to do what is best for the community, to reverse the legacy that has once existed, not only in Bronzeville, but throughout the city of Chicago, and the MRAC team for holding us accountable with weekly meetings. And I'm sure our lawyers can tell us exactly how many hours we've spent in putting this project on the forefront today. So many people have asked, what does GRIT mean and how does it accomplish what it has accomplished? And my only way to paraphrase this is why, although birds are not flying south for the winter, our birds are converging here on the Bronzeville site, but we all have a role. And that lead bird takes on the headwinds when it's their turn. And when that bird gets tired or their task is done, they fall back into formation and the next bird stands up and takes that headwind. So I want to thank our lead partner on our infrastructure, David Doig and Jen Bransfield, and our CNI team who is leading the infrastructure program for us. And who frankly must take the lion's share credit for this unique program, which is going to highlight small minority and women-owned businesses in our initial program. And we don't take that lightly because obviously with several multi-billion-dollar projects on the books in the city of Chicago, we needed to substantiate why we are doing this in Bronzeville by highlighting and giving opportunity to Black-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, women-owned businesses that are based right here in the community, and that is our goal and objective. So, on behalf of our GRIT team, which actually means get ready, it's time, thank you very much. Is Kevin here, one of our MRAC members who's actually going to give us... Nope. Also, Alderman King, you're up.
Thank you. Wow. So, long time coming. and really a project that has been close to my heart. I raised my hand over there for a couple of reasons. Two very, very important reasons. My kids were born at Michael Reese, but not only that, 2801 South King Drive was my first home in Prairie Shores. So my first home in Chicago was right over there, 2801 South King Drive. I used to wake up to the Dunbar Band. God, I think it was playing at 6 a.m. And so it's really been a full circle moment for me. But before I go on, and I won't go on for long because I think a number of folks have covered a lot of material and background and history, but I do want to thank a few people. First of all, I'd like to start off by thanking our mayor for her partnership here, and also for her time as mayor. I just want to thank you for your service and your partnership, Mayor. I also like to echo the thanks to the GRIT team led by Scott Goodman. It's been years. I can't even remember how long ago, but it's been a good relationship, and this project obviously will outlive my tenure here, the mayor's tenure here, but we're leaving it in your hands to make sure that the GRIT team does right by the community. And the community will be here to make sure, as you know, that you do right by the community. But I do want to highlight the relationship, which, I would say there was just a lot of strong communication back and forth, and I really think that's the way development should happen. Some difficult conversations at times, but I think we all know each other and call each other friends and have a relationship and have a really good project for the community for it. But thank you, Scott, for your leadership. Thank you to the rest of the GRIT team for their leadership as well. Also, a special thanks to the DPD Commissioner Cox, and your team, especially Cindy Rubik. Oh, I didn't see earlier, and the work that you did. Cindy's like family too. So, but thank you guys for your leadership and partnership here as well. Appreciate that. And Commissioner Biaggi as well. I always look forward to having conversations with you and your team. But there's a lot of thought and forethought that was put into this project that the community will benefit from, the community, the city, the people. And so, I'm grateful for that time that we spent together with everyone. But I really today want to uplift the Michael Reese Advisory Committee. And I am going to take the time that I have really to acknowledge them individually and the work that they have put into this project that really couldn't be the project that it is without each and every member. And it's been years, and so every member really played an integral part. But I want to highlight, too, the importance of having an advisory committee that is built of stakeholders in the community because, as I highlighted, this project will outlive my service here to the community, but it will not outlive the community. And so the community should always be at the forefront. Developers will come and go. Politicians, public servants will come and go, but the community is here. So this is really about the community. So if you'll indulge me, I want to call out every member of the advisory committee, and please just stay standing until I go down the list. I know not everybody is here, unfortunately, we've lost three of our members have passed and gone on. Oh, 4 of our members. Oh my gosh, you're right. Which is a testament to the time that they've put into this, but also just really to the legacy of this project. So not in any particular order, but please, as I list your names, please stand up and stay standing until I go through the list of folks. And so we have Kimshasa Baldwin. Is Kimshasa here? No? Nikki Hayes. Nikki Hayes is back there. I see you in the back. Pastor Chris Harris. Thank you for your partnership. Desmond Orr. Is Desmond here? I don't see Desmond. Diane Dinkins Carr. Is Diane here? No. Recently passed away, but we'll say her name and speak it loud. A very integral part of this team, but Sharon Eubanks Pope. Amen. Yes, amen. Bill Gerstein, is he here? No? Okay. Craig Jeffrey? No? Tracy Bay? I saw her. You should be sitting over here. Come on over. Calvin Lyons. Is Calvin here? No? Bonnie Sanchez Carlson? Hey, Bonnie. Good to see you. I'm sorry, I should have my glasses on up here. I'd probably go a little faster. Again, another member who has gone on to brighter pastures, but Professor Janet Smith. Leonard McGee, who is our unofficial, official leader of this project. But thank you for your service and continued service. Rhonda McFarland. Not here? Okay. Again, another member who has passed away but was an integral part of this committee, Jim Buckner. Okay. And Jordan Buckner. Not here. Jennifer Knight. Okay. Professor Terry Nichols. No. Miss Zakia Muhammad. Affordable housing. Without your voice, it would not be clear. Thank you for that. Let's see. Okay, Pastor John Smith. Thought I saw it. Yes. Kevin's not here. Kevin Stanshill. Boy, his work just on the infrastructure and working with your team was very significant. Christopher Vaughn. I thought I saw in the back there. Hey, Chris. Reverend Andrea Davidson. A couple of these folks were on the initial committee. We had a committee that chose the actual committee, but I wanted to highlight them as well. Enrique Beckman, Dr. Enrique Beckman, no? And then Dr. Timuel Black, who, needs no special introduction, but he has passed and just served as just a mentor and historian to tell us about the history and the richness of this community. But I wanted to take the time to really acknowledge this team of people who really for the last, how many years has it been? 6 years, okay. volunteered to really put their time and heart and soul into this particular project, and it is a great project because of all of you. And I thank you, not even for standing by my side, but for leading this effort for the community, on behalf of the community. And I hope you will continue to stay involved, because we need you to stay involved to make sure that this is brought to fruition as you all had in mind. So again, thank you all for your service. I appreciate you. And before I go, the last person I want to thank is my Chief of Staff, Prentice Butler. Is he here? Who really shepherded this project and was in more meetings. I was in a lot of meetings, but he was in more meetings, and really was the glue to bring this project together. So thank you all, everybody, the whole entire team. This was really a community effort, and I appreciate, again, the mayor embracing the community advisory, or this advisory committee, and also duplicating it throughout the city, because it's really, you know, politicians, public servants will come and go. The community will really hold up a project. So thank you again, and thank everybody for their time and their service. And I think we are going, yes, I'm sorry, I think we're going outside now? Yeah, okay, somebody, all right.
Thank you, Alderman. Thanks to everyone who's come out today, all speakers and participants who are going to be heading out. We need you out there first, and then everyone else can follow. Please help yourself to refreshments and drinks.